Hi folks, welcome to the Yoga Wild YouTube channel. If you're watching live, sorry we're getting started just a couple minutes late. My business partner, the amazing Kelsey, has been here for 2 days to get our sound quality just up to par and working. So we were doing some last minute touches, but happy you're here. My name is Casey. I use the pronoun she, her. I'm co-founder of Yoga Wild. And Yoga Wild is a yoga company in Tacoma, Washington. Like many small businesses, we are currently closed to the public, but really happy to be back in our space filming. So grateful if you're watching live or doing the live replay that you are carving out the time. And this class is a slow flow. So just like it sounds, we will move with intention and slowly between postures in our transitions and just with our breath. So I have a couple of blocks. If you have blocks or even a stool or chair, something that can support during some challenging balance postures and transitions, that might be helpful. And we'll begin in a comfortable seat. So maybe you're cross-legged or you're sitting on a blanket or one of the blocks. That can be really helpful to have some height. But be mindful that your sit bones are grounded onto a prop or a chair or the ground. Find your tall spine and then close your eyes or just find a soft gaze down. Take a moment in an opening meditation. Notice your breath, how you feel, your energy, your mood. And we begin our practice and end our practice in stillness. And yes, we will find some effort, we will find some challenge, but be in this moment. And if your mind is racing, if you're feeling distracted, that's okay, that's normal. Maybe bring your attention to your breath. And think of your breath like a 360 breath. So it's front, sides, and back body that is expanding with your inhale and contracting with your exhale. And for our last few breaths here, maybe as you inhale, get a little wider. And with your exhale, sit taller. Try to keep your inhale and exhale equal, Samavriti pranayama. Option to keep your eyes closed or slowly start to open your eyes. Inhale, reach your left hand high, and then start to lean over to your right. And as you lean to your right hand could kind of prop up or even reach out so your waistline stays long. Keep your chest open for now, and your left thumb points behind you, so your lifted arm is in an external rotation. Take one more inhale like this. As you exhale, start to find a twist. So lower your left hand down next to your right. And maybe you're a little bit more lifted in your twist, and that's a great place to begin. Maybe you start to walk your hands further out, or forearms could start to come closer to the ground or a prop. And this is a pretty intense twist in my body, so pay attention to your breath. Also notice if your left sit bone starts to peel away from the mat, so stay grounded. We're also really trying to target our hips. Throughout class today, we'll bring a lot of attention to the front, sides, and backs of our hips. Then open your chest as you inhale, lift yourself up. Exhale, bring your left hand down, and we'll switch sides. Inhale, bring your right hand up. Exhale, start to lean over to your left. So we're staying here for a little bit. And you could bring your gaze down toward your left hand. It could be forward or even gaze up to the ceiling. Point your right thumb behind you. Stay open in your chest. Maybe get just a little longer as you inhale. Exhale, lower your right hand down and start to find your twist on this side. So hands to your mat, forearms to a prop, whatever degree. And one side might feel significantly different. I feel a little bit less range of motion in this twist, so you might be experiencing that too. And every time we get into a posture, it's just an opportunity to pay attention We're not forcing anything. Just notice your body today. One more breath here. Then inhale, open your chest as you lift up. Exhale, bring both hands down. Good. Take a moment to start to shift forward. So maybe that's just an inch or two. Maybe that's more of hands or forearms coming down to the ground or a prop. And just a few breaths like this. If your forearms are connected to something, you can really press down and then energetically draw your elbows back. That might encourage a little length in your low back, maybe some space along your spine. And then slowly lift your chest. Switch the cross of your legs. Bring your opposite shin in front, and then take a forward fold again. So sit bones are grounded, and it might feel a little awkward with maybe a less dominant leg in front, but take a few breaths in a forward fold here. And I've been seeing lots of friends posting lately about the new book, Untamed by Glennon Doyle. And a big thank you to my friends Mandy and Tashian because they had rave reviews, so I started reading. And in the book, she says, we can do hard things. And that just stood out to me, especially right now. And we'll play with that throughout our practice, coming back to this idea of we can do hard things. Lift your chest and make your way to tabletop. So as you come to your hands and knees, spread your 10 fingers wide. Your shoulders can stack over your wrists, but spend a little time in movement. And as I mentioned, we will focus a lot on our hips today, so maybe see what it feels like to kind of move your hips around in circles, clockwise, even counterclockwise. Notice how it feels to have weight in your hands. And then we'll find a slow flow, a little grounded flow to begin. So inhale to cow pose. Drop your belly, lift the crown of your head and your tailbone up. Exhale, cat pose. Really press firmly through your hands. Round your upper back, tuck your chin to your chest. Inhale, tabletop. Find your flat spine. Exhale, child's pose. And our first time in Balasana, we'll take a few breaths. If you would like to make your knees a little wider, this first time through, more of an extended child's, feel free. Maybe keep your hands long and lower your forehead down. You could even find a little pillow. And just take a moment to reflect on your day, what's happened, and anytime you felt challenge or frustration. What would it have felt like to have this mantra in your head? We can do hard things. Back to tabletop. Stack your shoulders over wrists. Tuck your toes under. Downward facing dog. And you can find a little scoop, like you're sending your tailbone back toward your heels, and then start to straighten your legs. Bend your knees as much as you need. You can kind of walk or pedal your feet. Notice where you might be holding on to tension. In downward facing dog, Ardha Mukha Svanasana is a mild inversion. So know that you could stay in tabletop or lower your knees down at any time. Be mindful of your hands as you spread your fingers wide, find a little grip with your fingertips, and then start to wrap your triceps down toward your mat as you lengthen your spine. We'll put that together, slow breath to slow movement. Slowly start to lower your knees down. Maybe even hover for a moment. Inhale, cow pose. Exhale, cat pose. Inhale, tabletop, flat back. Exhale, child's pose. Option to keep your toes tucked under. Get a little extra stretch through the soles of your feet. Press into your palms. Inhale, downward dog. Scoop your tailbone up. Exhale, slowly start to lower your knees down. Maybe take a moment just to hover. Inhale, cow pose. Exhale, cat pose. Inhale, tabletop. Exhale, child's pose. Maybe press, press, press in your hands. Inhale, downward facing dog. Exhale, slowly lower down, tabletop. One more round like that. Inhale, cow pose. Exhale, cat pose. Inhale, tabletop. Exhale, child's pose. Inhale, downward facing dog. This time stay with your exhale. Maybe find a little bit more stillness in this downward facing dog, especially if you are moving a lot the first time. Notice if your weight in your hands is starting to roll to the outer part of your palm. Really press down evenly so it's like your thumbs and index fingers are actively pressing into your mat. Inhale, high plank. Shift your weight forward. Stack your shoulders over your wrists. Lengthen your spine, lengthen your neck. And know that you could lower your knees down at any time and still find your long spine. This is still really active work for the core and shoulders. So your variation. Inhale. Exhale, lower slowly through Chaturanga this first time. So bend your elbows straight back and land soft. Once you land down, inhale, lift your chest and breathe. So point your feet, really press the tops of your feet down into your mat, and you'll feel your kneecaps lift away. Now, anchor down in your hips and start to lift up, maybe even hover your hands. Lower down. We'll take a second set. This time, inhale, lift. You can come to the same kind of baby cobra or high cobra, start to lift your chest. Option even for upward facing dog. Press into your palms, lengthen your spine, lengthen your neck, gaze forward. Your thighs hover away from your mat. Inhale. Exhale, downward facing dog. Draw your navel up and in. Option to roll over your toes. Maybe use your knees or find that scoop back through child's pose like we did the first flow. We'll link those postures together. Slow breath, slow movement. Inhale, high plank, shift forward. Exhale, Chaturanga with or without your knees. Inhale, lift. Any variation of cobra or upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Make your way back, Adho Mukha Svanasana. Inhale, plank, shift forward. Option to ground your knees. Exhale, lower down. And you can pause halfway or take it to the mat. Inhale, lift. Exhale, downward facing dog. We'll take one more round, and each flow doesn't have to look the same. Personalize this round. Inhale, high plank. Exhale, Chaturanga. Inhale, lift. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, gaze to your hands. Exhale, bend your knees. Step to the top of your mat. We'll give your arms, your shoulders a little rest. And for your first forward fold, for ragdoll, I like a little wider stance. So maybe take a nice wide base. You can release over your legs, maybe box out your arms, add a little sway side to side. And just see what it feels like to kind of release to gravity. Let go of effort or tension. To just be here. Lower your fingertips to your mat. Add a soft bend to your knees, tuck your chin to your chest, and make a slow roll all the way up to stand. Keep your gaze down. Eventually, when you do lift, you can roll out your shoulders, mountain pose Tadasana, face your palms forward, and then really open your chest as you stand tall. Maybe you bring your feet a little closer together. And then press your palms at heart center, Samastitihi, and really press your hands together, open your chest. Close your eyes or gaze to your fingertips. Set an intention for your practice. Maybe even try on, we can do hard things. Or even, I can do hard things. Inhale, fill up. Exhale, send it out. Open your eyes. We'll flow through a half Surya Namaskar A, a half Sun A, 3 rounds, slow breath to slow movement. Inhale, reach your hands up, Ii Virabhadrasana, stand tall. Exhale, forward fold. You could open your arms wide, that feels like a big stretch in my chest and shoulders, or just pass hands through center. Inhale, halfway lift, hands to shins or blocks, find your tabletop spine. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, reach your hands high. Really take up space, stretch, stretch, stretch. Exhale, hands to your heart. Samastitihi, back to your intention. Inhale, reach up, Ii Virabhadrasana. Exhale, forward fold, Utkatasana. Inhale, halfway lift, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, forward fold, Uttanasana. Inhale, stand tall. Exhale, hands to heart center. Inhale, reach up, stretch, stretch, stretch. Exhale, forward fold, move with your breath. Notice if you feel a little habit energy, like wanting to rush or go faster. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, upward salute. Exhale, hands to center. Take a moment here and just check back in what it feels like to move and breathe in your body today, in your practice today. We can do hard things. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. This time, inhale, chair pose, Utkatasana. So bend your knees, lift your head, your chest. Your hands can stay at your hips, your heart, or start to reach your fingertips to the sky. As you reach up, point your thumbs up so your arms are in external rotation, biceps by your ears. And then notice if you're kind of leaning forward or gripping with your toes. Maybe even pick up your toes and see what it's like to have more of your weight in your heels. Draw your navel up and in, and active in your glutes as you sink just a little deeper. Know that this is a great place to stay, or we'll try on half chair, Ardha Utkatasana. For half chair, bring your chest parallel to your mat. Fingertips can stay reaching forward. Always remember, if your arms become a distraction, then just change them. We're really here to kind of wake up and warm up your legs. So let that be your priority. Maybe start to sink a little deeper as you bring your thighs more parallel to your mat. If you're starting to shake or feel a little tremor, I'm right there with you. We can do hard things. Full inhale, stay with it. Exhale, forward fold. Take your time. Don't rush or pop out of the pose. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, step your left foot back. So take a big long stride, take your time, slowly connect to your mat, and then lower your left knee down. So spend just a little bit in a grounded lunge, maybe pulsing or moving. I like blocks to frame my front foot. If your hands come all the way down to the ground with ease, then you may not need props, and that's fine. And then start to lift your chest. Maybe hands come to your front thigh or your heart. And you're sinking your hips down and forward. But we want to be mindful as you're not just like sagging into your hips. That's a lot of strain in front of your hips. So come out just a little bit from your full range of motion and really squeeze your inner thighs together. So your adductor muscles are super active. Draw your right hip back. Hands can stay at heart or reach up toward the ceiling. I'll present a little arm movement that you can add on if you wish. Think of kind of sweeping your hands down and up as you inhale. With your exhale, come out of your lunge a little bit, and the backs of your palms like reach like they could touch the wall behind you. Continue these rotations. Inhale, sweep your hands down and up. Exhale. And you can go at a different pace than me, so find a rhythm with your breath, with your actions that work for you, but be mindful that we're kind of seeing a height transition. You're sinking into your hips. Know that you could always fold over your mat or place a blanket under your back knee if it's starting to get tender. And try to stay with it for just a few more breaths. Actively squeeze your inner thighs as you draw your right hip back. Your front knee tracks in line with your toes. Feel that huge stretch even through your back and chest. Last one. Then lower your hands to your mat. Pick up your back knee. Base your left hand on your mat, or I like a block, and then start to twist open to your right. So you could always lower your left knee down for some stability and just focus on your twist, or pick it up. If you do lift your knee, be mindful that you're not sagging into your hips. You could bring your right hand to your low back, feel that it's level, maybe even reach your right hand high, and really feel this strength in your upper back. So draw your shoulder blades together. Inhale. Exhale, forward fold. Lower your right hand down. Step your left foot up. Take a moment here. Maybe pedal your legs. Recognize how one side feels compared to the other. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, step your right foot back. Long stride. Then lower your right knee down. You know it's coming on this side, so especially if you are feeling really distracted by pressure on your back knee, please fold your mat over, add that cushion. But take a little time to move around on this side first, preparing it for activity. And then as you're ready, start to lift your chest, long in your spine. And with your back toes, you can choose to tuck them under. That might be a nice stretch in your foot, or it can add some kind of stability. Or point your foot and really press down through the top of your foot. All of a sudden, you might feel your right inseam of your leg really fire up. And then option to start to add the pulse. Inhale, sink down, sweep up. As you exhale, really reach your hands as far back as possible. Inhale. Exhale, squeeze, squeeze, squeeze inner thighs. And then continue at your pace. I invite you to move a little slower than what maybe feels normal or comfortable. You're staying with your long, even breath. Try to time your movement so you're not pausing or holding. A few more rounds here. This time, bring your right hand to your mat or a block and start to find your twist to the left. Stay here with your back knee grounded, or start to pick up your back knee. And really active through your back leg. Still squeezing your inner thighs together, open your chest. Notice if your right hip is dipping down, try to stay a little more level, and then maybe even stack your wrists, extend your left hand high. Inhale. Exhale, forward fold. Step your back foot up. And with this, that's a big transition. So maybe it's more like a couple small steps. Just be mindful. Enjoy your fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, chair pose, Utkatasana. Exhale, half chair, Ardha Utkatasana. Inhale. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, step your left foot back. This time, lower your left knee down. We're just passing through with breath. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower your left hand down. Maybe pick up your left knee. Inhale, open arm twist. Sweep your right hand high. Exhale, lower your right hand down. Inhale, high lunge. Lift your chest. Fingertips reach toward the ceiling. And then take a little time to settle in. See how it feels to balance. Try to pick your back heel up as high as you can away from your mat. Draw your right hip back. And then bend, bend, bend into your front knee. From here, we'll add the same pulse that we did grounded. So as you inhale, start to straighten your front leg, draw your right hip back. Exhale, sweep your hands behind you, down as you bend into your front knee. Inhale, high lunge with the straight front leg. Exhale. As you continue to pulse, maybe you're sweeping your arms in a different direction than I am, and that's okay. Maybe you feel really wobbly and you fall out. Maybe you would prefer to hold high lunge. That's a challenge in itself. One more breath. We'll meet high lunge. Find a drishti or gazing point. Claim this pose. Sink in. Inhale. Exhale, forward fold. Hands to your mat. Step your left foot up. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, step your right foot back and then lower your right knee down. Inhale, lift your chest. Exhale, ground your right hand. Inhale, pick up your back knee, open arm twist. Exhale, both hands down. Inhale, high lunge. So maybe check that both feet are on two separate tracks. So we're not on a balance beam. You have space and then lift up. And then settle in on this side. What does it feel like to balance with this foot forward? Finding a drishti or a gazing point in your space, something to look at that isn't moving, can be really helpful as well. Draw your left hip back. Navel up and in. So recruit your core as you sink into your front knee. This is a great place to stay, or we'll add the flow with breath. Inhale, straighten your front leg, sweep your hands up. Exhale, around and down, back into the bend. Inhale. Exhale. And as you continue to pulse, maybe you're feeling a lot of activity in front of your hips. We're kind of targeting that area first. Don't worry, in our next waves, we'll start to open and get more into the sides and back. But be really present with where you are now. Couple more rounds of breath. We will meet high lunge. Take a moment in stillness. Inhale. Exhale, forward fold, Utkatasana. Step your right foot up with care. Take a moment in your forward fold. Try to still feel that release energetically, physically, whatever you need. Inhale, halfway lift, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, chair pose, Utkatasana. Option, exhale, half chair. Lower your chest parallel. Wherever you are, inhale, stay. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, step your left foot back. Lower your left knee down. We'll flow through what we know. Inhale, lift your chest. Exhale, lower your left hand down. Inhale, open arm twist. Maybe pick up your back knee. Exhale, right hand down. Inhale, high lunge just to transition. Exhale, warrior two, Virabhadrasana 2. So open wide, and that might feel good. We've stayed forward facing in our hips for a while, so even though this is challenging, it's a new challenge, so you can kind of bend and sink into your front knee. Hips are level, draw your navel up and in, maybe open your arms wide. You can keep your gaze over your right middle finger, and really active through your back leg. We'll add a pulse here. Inhale, straighten your front leg. Reach both hands up, maybe even look up. Exhale, sink back in, Virabhadrasana 2. Continue like that. Inhale, reach up like you could touch the ceiling. Exhale. And as you continue to pulse, as you straighten your legs, really feel your inner thighs squeeze together and dig down with your heels. And then a little release as you exhale. Inhale, active, strong. Exhale, find a little ease. Couple more like that. And be mindful of your front knee as you're bending back into warrior two, and stay there this last time. that your knee is tracking in line with your toes. It's not kind of rolling in a little bit. From here, inhale, straighten your front leg. And we're working toward triangle. So I like to kind of shorten my stance a bit. That might serve you. And then as you exhale, reach your right fingertips out, out, out. And then lower your right hand down to your calf, a block, maybe even your mat. And there's a big twist happening here in your chest. Your left hand can stay at your hip, or you can start to extend your left hand high. So more like your wrist stack. Just like earlier, you can play with your gaze. That can kind of add or take away sensation. Press in with your heels. Squeeze your inner thighs. Navel up and in. Look for a little more space through your sides. Inhale, warrior two. Bend your front knee, lift your chest. Exhale, forward fold. Bring your hands down. Step your back foot up. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, step your right foot back. Lower your right knee down. Inhale, lift your chest. Exhale, ground your right hand. Inhale, open arm twist. Pick up your back knee. Exhale, lower your left hand down. Inhale, high lunge, lift your chest. Exhale, warrior two, Virabhadrasana 2. So again, you can make any adjustments that you need to your stance. Just take up space. You're in a wide stance. Think of your hips sinking down to your mat. And if you're feeling a little pull on your inner thigh, that makes sense. Your front knee might start to roll in. So really think of your front inner thigh, your left inner thigh spirals to the ceiling. A little bit more of that external rotation. Reach through your hands. We'll add the pulse. Inhale, straighten your front leg. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze your inner thighs. Squeeze your glutes. Exhale, lower down. And as you continue with your breath, whatever kind of sweep or shape you make with your hands is fine. Just really trying to time your movement to the pattern of your breath. Being mindful of all of the supporting, the recruiting muscles that are activated so that you feel stable. So you could find a little bit more height as you inhale, and maybe a little bit more depth as you exhale. A couple more breaths. We can do hard things. And I like the book. In the book she says we, because we're in it as a collective. Sink into your front knee. That's why group classes can be really nice, these live classes. Like even if you don't see somebody, you know you're in it with them. We can do hard things. Inhale, straighten your front leg. Exhale, triangle trikonasana, so maybe shorten your stance. Reach your left fingertips out, 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 and then hinge as you bring your left hand down. Right hand stays at your hip or extend up toward the ceiling as you look for length in your side body. So really try to let go of the idea that your bottom hand has to connect to the ground, and we collapse down. Trying to stay as long as you can through your sides, really active in your legs, active in your core as you open and breathe. With your bottom hand, you could kind of let it hover away from your front leg or the mat. And I keep a little bend in my knee, so avoid strain through the back of your leg. Inhale, warrior two. Exhale, forward fold. Lower your hands down. Step your right foot up. We have one more wave in our sun bee variation. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, chair pose, Utkatasana. Exhale, half chair, Ardha Utkatasana. Inhale. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, step your left foot back. Lower your left knee down. Inhale, lift your chest. Exhale, base your left hand. Inhale, open arm twist, reach your right hand up. Exhale, lower your hand down. Inhale, high lunge, lift your chest. Exhale, warrior two. Inhale, straighten your front leg. Exhale, triangle pose. Reach your fingertips forward. Hinge at your hips. Inhale, star pose. Turn your heels in, point your toes out. Exhale, goddess squat. Bend your knees, bend your elbows. We'll pulse that. Inhale, star, squeeze, 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 reach up. Exhale. And as you continue, if the arms are distracting you or making you feel off balance, you can always bring them to center and focus on your legs. And again, your arms could look any shapes that work for you. Just moving with your breath. Your slow breath. Last one. Back to warrior two with your exhale. From here, we'll transition into half moon Ardha Chandrasana B. So balancing on your right foot, having that stool or a block nearby might be helpful. And start to shift weight into your right foot as you pick up your left leg. And maybe stay a little bit more lifted so you keep your chest and hips open toward the left side of your space. Option to start to lower your right hand down to a block or your mat, and you could always hover it away. If you're using a prop under your fingertips, try to avoid keeping it really close to your right toes because that kind of forces us to round down to stay connected. So it's nice and out under your right shoulder. Open your hips, open your chest. Option even to reach your left fingertips high. And then get really active in your lifted leg. And if you fall out, it's pretty common. Remember, we can do hard things. From here, we're going to transition into a single leg Tadasana. So press through your right heel, pick your left knee up. You can add a little tap in your left toes, just passing through. And then exhale, figure four. Place your left ankle on your right thigh as you bend into your right knee. And we'll be here for about 5 to 7 breaths. This is a great place to stay. Or you can start to add that half chair variation. Start bringing your chest more parallel to your mat. Great place to stay. Flex your left foot, open your left knee. Maybe even reach your fingertips forward. Palms face in, thumbs toward the ceiling. Bend into your standing leg. Draw your right hip back. If it's hard or it's shaking or you've come out and you're getting back in, we can do hard things. Transition out slowly. Inhale, single leg Tadasana, just like we got in. Exhale, half moon. Take your time. Open your hips, open your chest. Inhale, warrior two, soft landing. Bend into your front knee. Take your time. Exhale, forward fold. Hands to your mat or to blocks. Step up. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, step your right foot back. Ground your right knee. Inhale, lift your chest. Exhale, base your right hand. Inhale, open arm twist. Lift your left hand high. Exhale, lower your hand down. Inhale, high lunge. You've got this. Exhale, warrior two. Inhale, star pose. Exhale, goddess squat. Take a moment here. So if you're feeling a little wobbly, notice your feet. So if we're not trying to get on a balance beam, let your feet be at an angle, heels in, toes kind of pointing toward the side corners of your mat, and then sink in so that your knees track in line with your toes. If you really liked that star pulse to goddess squat that we did on the first side, feel free. For a little bit more activity, maybe stay in your goddess squat and just find a little pulse. Just slightly coming in and out. All the while staying long through your spine, open in your chest. If you're starting to feel your heart rate increase, your breath getting faster, even though this is challenging, even though your legs might be burning, can you slow down your breath? Inhale, star pose. Exhale, warrior two. Start to transition, Ardha Chandrasana B, half moon on this side. So maybe a shorter stance to begin with, and then start to bring weight to your left foot as you lift your right leg. And your right leg is active, so really engaged. That's like your counterbalance or support. Left fingertips can hover away, or they can come to a block or your mat. And I definitely feel extra wobbly on this side, so if your ankle is shaking, know that you're not doing it wrong. That doesn't mean anything other than you're building strength, you're building mobility, and you're in this pose. We can do hard things. Maybe even extend your right hand high. Notice if you hold your breath, and then inhale, single leg Tadasana, lift your chest. Maybe tap your right toes or lift your right knee. Exhale, figure four. So bring your right ankle to your left thigh. And you can hang out here standing. This is a great opener, and it's still really challenging to balance. Or start to add the bend into your left knee, all the while flexing your right foot. And maybe start to bring your chest parallel to your mat. Just like earlier, if the arms are distracting, no need to add them for a little more challenge. And I do think that arms extended is a little harder, but it helps me balance. By reaching your fingertips forward, maybe you can sink your tailbone back a little bit more. Slowly lift your chest, lift your right knee. Inhale, single leg Tadasana. Exhale, half moon. Care about this transition. Inhale, warrior two. Bend your front knee first. Then start to reach your right foot back. Land soft. Exhale, forward fold. Lower your hands down. Ooh. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, reach your hands up. Big stretch. Exhale, hands to heart center. Samasthiti. I'm sweating a little bit. We're going to move into tree pose or Rikshasana. So balance on your right leg and be mindful that maybe you're practicing at home. You might not be in a studio with solid floor. So if you're on carpet or a rug or an uneven surface, that's not necessarily a bad thing. It's a new challenge and it might feel a little bit more or less stable, but try to just be present with that. So as you balance on your right leg, open your left knee. Any variation with your arms, you have so many options here, like really just let it be organic to today. I will present a little extra challenge, especially if you're super familiar with tree. It can be easy in some of these postures to just like hang out. I want you to catch your breath. I want you to feel in this moment, but maybe see what it's like to hover your left foot away from the inseam of your right leg. And if you're used to your foot being way up high, maybe it stays there or you feel it kind of drop down. Notice all the activity happening in your hips, in your glute. You might be feeling a little less stable, but try to breathe here. There is a power in the collective. And although we are all being impacted differently, with this pandemic, we are struggling, we are being challenged together. Just remind yourself, we can do hard things. Inhale. Exhale, slow, slow, slow. Lower your left foot down. And maybe shake it out, side to side. Rikshasana tree pose, last standing posture. Balance on your left leg, open your right knee. Find the placement of your right foot, of your hands, that you can continue to breathe and stay present in here. Maybe that means adding that little hover away with your right foot. And your drishti or gazing point can change. Maybe just kind of 6 feet in front of you on the ground, maybe eye level or slightly lifted, and even feel that little lift in your chest. Slow down your breath. Inhale. Exhale, lower your right foot down with care. And take a moment, you can bring your hands to your hips, see what it's like to kind of send your hips forward, out and around, just some hip circles. We asked a lot of our body tonight, so we'll be mindful as we start to wind down. Then as you come back to stillness, inhale, reach up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, downward facing dog, your path. You can walk back, you could step or jump, maybe add in a chaturanga. Just take your time. Inhale, reach your right heel high. Exhale, half pigeon. Bring your right knee behind your right wrist. And be mindful, maybe crawl your left knee back. And just slowly start to make your way into sleeping pigeon. You could stay lifted if that feels right for your body today, or maybe come to forearms or blocks. So especially if you're used to a more active vinyasa practice, as we get into these more grounding postures, this might be where it's a little bit more effort or work, just more mental work, to stay in it as distractions come. Actual sound or people in your space or thoughts in your head. Can you stay right here for the last bit of our practice? Then lift your chest, roll to the outer part of your right hip, sweep your left leg out and around in front, coming to our cross-legged Sukhasana. And so you're crossing your shins. Inhale, sit tall. Exhale, fold. And you could bring forearms to your mat or blocks. And this is a really great variation. If you're just kind of hanging out here and not feeling much, option for fire log where you're stacking your shins. And for fire log, with your left shin on top of your right, you want a knee to ankle stack. And that can be asking a lot of the body, so sometimes having a little prop support can offer so you're not straining, but flex your feet. And from there, you can add your lean. And then lift your chest and come out, just as much care and attention as you went in. Sweep your left leg out and around. Point your left knee down, press into your hands, downward facing dog. Maybe you take a little time in a three-legged dog, circles in your hips. And then we'll do the other side. Inhale, lift your left heel high. Exhale, half pigeon, Utkatasana. Left knee out toward the outer edge of your mat and crawl your right knee back. Take time to ease into this posture. And start to notice your breath. And every time we practice asana, the physical practice of yoga, the postures, and every time we stay in a challenging pose or we get back in after falling out or even just making choices that can look less active than you usually do, we build an endurance, a stamina, this knowing within that when things are challenging or new or awkward or uncomfortable, you can take care of yourself. Lift your chest, roll to the outer part of your left hip, sweep your right leg out and in front, and then find the variation that works for you today. Sukhasana is great, crossing your shins and adding that forward fold. And maybe notice, since we did this at the beginning of class, like maybe your range of motion has shifted a little bit, all the while staying long in your spine. Maybe adding on more of the fire log. Just if you need sensation, actively flex your feet and find that shift forward. So in my body, in fire log, I don't need to shift much. It's just really little, and I feel it more in my hips. When I'm in Sukhasana, the cross-legged, I also feel more of a stretch in my low back. So it's not like you're trying to get to a certain pose. It's just what works for you or what do you need now. And then slowly lift your chest, sweep your right leg out and around. Press into your palms. Make your way back to downward facing dog, Ardha Mukha Svanasana, our final downward facing dog today. So if you wanted to circle your hip out a few times, feel free. And then really care about your posture. Notice the shifts through your practice. Maybe your heels are a little closer to your mat. Maybe your legs are feeling tender and you're in a wider stance, more bend in your knees. Then slowly lower to your knees and make your way onto your back. We'll take time in bridge pose. And if you want something deeper or will, feel free to go there. Really just kind of looking for a big stretch in front of your hips. So our legs have already done enough work. In my body, my legs have already done enough work. So making it supportive, so bringing a folded blanket or towel or even a block under your low back. And you can kind of play with the height. So maybe just a little bit is all you need. And you can kind of move it around, but it shouldn't be super awkward. Like you're on a firm surface, but kind of find that point right at your sacrum. And know that this is a great place to stay. And again, maybe you're in bridge or wheel, something more active. But if you're wanting a little bit more stretch in front of your hips, you can start to straighten your legs. So your heels are coming more toward the top corner of your mat. Hands can be out by the side or connected to your body. So with this added height, we're just getting more stretch in front. And you can always try something on, and if it just feels more intense than you want right now, you can slowly layer out. Just avoid like reacting or popping out of a pose. Keep your gaze up. If your legs are extended, slowly walk your heels back in. Pick your hips up from a prop if you're using it, and then slowly lower back down. Take a moment in constructive rest. Bring your knees together to touch. Feet come wide to the edges of your mat. So we're just taking a moment after a little bit of a back bend to internally rotate the hips. And then you can keep your feet wide where they are and just let both knees fall to your left. Starting to move into a twist. Maybe extend your right arm out. You could even turn your chin toward your right shoulder. Staying with your long, slow breaths here. You could always stack your knees or make another shape with your legs. I also like twisted root. Bring your left ankle to your right thigh. And just a gentle press down. And then with both feet grounded, inhale, point your knees up to the ceiling. Take a moment with your knees pointed up. Reset your hips, press your low back down first, and then take your twist on the other side. Let both knees fall the opposite direction. Shoulder blades stay grounded. Maybe extend your left arm out, or even like a goalpost works. And breathe here. Always remembering to come back to your breath. Feel the impact of your inhale, and the impact of your exhale on this shape. Maybe twisted root again, right ankle to left thigh. with both feet grounded. Point your knees up toward the ceiling. And then draw your thighs into your chest. Give your legs a hug. So I'm going to hold space for a couple of minutes in Shavasana. You can always just press pause, stay here as long as you like. I highly encourage you to stay with it. You've made it this far, and we really reap the benefits of our practice and our work from Shavasana. So especially if you're in your space, you could always dim the lights a little bit. Extend your legs long. Arms can be wide or stay connected to your body. If you're feeling any kind of pinch in your low back, then just bend your knees, that constructive rest like we did after bridge. If you have a blanket nearby, it might feel nice to place a blanket over you. You get the added comfort of the weight and warmth. And then come back to your breath. And maybe for you, sitting here in stillness is the hard stuff. It doesn't have to be fancy poses or shapes. Remind yourself, we can do hard things. I can do hard things. And every time you get pulled away, distracted, you can come back to your breath, come back to your mantra, come back to this moment. Notice your breath. Notice your body. You could wiggle fingers and toes. Maybe find some circles in your wrists and ankles. Option 2, full body stretch. Reach your hands overhead. Point your feet. And then roll to a side body. Take a little time to transition. You can come back to your intention. What would it look like if you took your mantra with you for the rest of your evening or day or week? We can do hard things. Make your way to a comfortable seat. I invite you to keep your eyes closed and your gaze soft and down. Bring your palms together at heart center. Remember, it's the choices you make that define who you are far more than your abilities. Thank you for choosing to practice your yoga. Lift your thumbs to the center of your forehead, your third eye. We will close with one final collective breath. Inhale. Exhale. Thank you so much, friends. Again, my name is Casey. If you haven't yet, please take a moment to subscribe to our channel. Know that you are supporting a small business in Tacoma, Washington. In the description box below, for the replay links, I'll include the link to our local bookstore, King's Books, and the Untamed by Glennon Doyle. So thanks, Mandy. Thanks, Tashian. It's a great read if you haven't had an opportunity yet. And thank you so much.